Hello creative people, welcome back to our channel. Today you're seeing a slightly different table, because I'm going to talk about a watercolor I reviewed a month ago. I put it here in this box. And today I'm going to give a new opinion on that review. Without taking back what I said, the colors are beautiful, they are opaque. I'm simply redoing the review to say how disappointed I was with the quality of the watercolor. So, I'm retracting my recommendation for a watercolor. I won't recommend it, unless you can't afford a better watercolor and want to invest in this one. But I guarantee you there are better watercolors for the same price. So, which watercolor am I talking about? Just so you understand. The Art Tools watercolor. Why am I saying this? Because this watercolor, a month after I reviewed it, developed a reaction inside the box that no other watercolor I've ever had. I know it's normal for some watercolors to have this kind of reaction I'm going to show here, but I've never seen it like it did with the Art Tools watercolor. So let's get started. I put the watercolor in the pan during the review, and when I put it away, I let it dry for 2 days after month. Can you see it? I think the camera is clearly showing these black spots. Is it a low-quality watercolor? No, there's no excuse. This one isn't an Art Tools watercolor. It was stored away, and it doesn't have mold. It's a Pentel watercolor. Look, this is mold and black mold. You might think it's normal because watercolors mix with water. Okay, let me show you something. What's inside this pan is a Pentel watercolor. It's been stored for a year, practically a year since I haven't used it. The Pentel watercolor might be dry, which is normal. The watercolor's shine remains, but there are no mold spots. Just to continue. So you understand what I'm talking about, this is the pan for the Art Talons watercolor. There's no mold spots, and it's been closed for a year, stored in the same place as the Art Tools watercolor. I usually leave my watercolors open for 2 days to dry before storing them, usually in this position to let air in. I have a window next to my studio and it gets air. Around the same time I reviewed this Art Tools watercolor, I did this little watercolor here from SES. It's a dry pan, but it didn't show any mold spots, and they were stored side by side for the same amount of time. This watercolor, just so I don't say I'm bad-mouthing it, I'm really disappointed. This Faber-Castell watercolor, I don't even know how long it's been since I've used it. All my watercolors are stored on the same shelf, side by side, and there's no mold. I'm going to get another watercolor here, a little more humid, the Van Gogh one. I don't know how long I haven't used it, but I really like it. There's a review of this watercolor on the channel. All the watercolors I've shown here have a review on the channel. I'll leave the link in the description. It also doesn't have any mold. Mold can happen with any watercolor, and am I being too picky? Yes, it can happen with any watercolor. As it happened with my White Night watercolor, I solved the problem. I'll show you how to solve the mold problem. Since the problem already happened, thank God, it's resolved for now. Mold is a spores that proliferates through spores, so it always comes back. It's been here for about 6 months, thank God, stored in the same place in the same way, and hasn't shown any mold again. Produced white mold. It wasn't black mold that didn't change. If I wanted to use the paint with mold, which some people use, I don't recommend because it changes the paint later. It didn't change the color of the paint. It was a white film that was there. What's going on with this black mold from Art Tools that I'm showing you? It's black mold, there's some white mold here, okay, but generally it's black mold. And when I brushed it, it changed the color of the paint on the paper. We're working with watercolor paint. You can't change the color like that. So let's see how this all works. Well, first let's take an old brush. I mark my old brushes with tape so I don't touch the watercolor. I usually use these brushes either for cleaning or for mixing colors. I have a small container of water and another container of bleach here. Does bleach change the pH of watercolor? It does. It's not ideal. Ideally, watercolor wouldn't grow moldy, but it can happen because a lot of people work in humid places. By the way, my studio has a dehumidifier precisely to prevent this kind of thing from happening. In humid places, it can even grow mold on paper. So let's use bleach and water to clean it and see if it works. It worked on my White Night watercolor, so let's go. First, I want to show you how this mold changed the color on the paper. I'll take yellow here, which would be the color where the yellow tone is. Besides yellow, a color that really caught my attention was this coral. Out of curiosity, we have a blue here. Oh my goodness. And as it grows, the mold layer grows. We have this layer of white mold. It doesn't change the colors that much, but don't be fooled, because it will affect the quality of your work later. This blue is a beautiful blue, but turned greenish. Pay attention. This was the first shade of yellow I removed. Film still came off over the mold. Look at the coral color. It came out a different color and lightened to a coral hue, but it's still not a pure hue. This blue, how impressive. It came out almost like a very diluted Payne's gray, then turned blue. This one had a white mold on top. The color didn't change much. This one is another blue, a beautiful color. It also changed color slightly. It was a little less, but it was there. What am I trying to say with all this? As I said in the previous review, they are beautiful colors, but there's no point in having beautiful colors if I don't have the quality. Some people might say the problem was my storage. I would even agree if I stored the watercolors differently. But I don't. I store all my watercolors in the same place, which is my watercolor shelf, and before storing them, I let them dry for 2 days. When I put it in pans, as was the case with our tools because it comes in a tub, I only store it when it's already dried out, enough to put my finger in. There are watercolors that come in tubes, so no matter how much you add, they'll never dry out. They have a little more binder, which isn't the case here. For example, when I buy White Night watercolors, I know they have more binder than the student watercolors, the ones for college students, so I know it will never look that dry. To remove mold, we'll apply a little bleach and literally rub it over the affected tile, removing the layer of mold while the bleach kills the spores. We'll do this with the entire tablet. So let's get started. I'm not going to use the bleach container anymore at first and just keep using the water container. I'll use clean paper. And now we're going to literally remove this entire surface layer of the watercolor. Well, I cleaned it, and there are no more black spots on all the paints. Now I'll wait for it to dry for about 2 or 3 days and see how it turns out. Could the fungus return? Yes, it can, and I believe it will. There's a way I've seen people store watercolors to prevent them from getting moldy. They say it increases their shelf life, but it's an empirical method I've heard from people. I don't know if it's proven or not. It makes sense in a very hot and humid country. Simply close the container after the watercolor has dried, and put it in a corner of your refrigerator so they can stay there. It doesn't change the look of the tablets, it doesn't change the color. They say it increases the durability of the colors. I don't know about that. It's empirical. I haven't read any studies on this, but in any case, no watercolor should mold easily, because it's not a cheap product, it's relatively expensive. It makes me sad to make a video like this because no one wants to lose their watercolor paint. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you've ever had mold on your watercolor, leave here in the cards how you removed it. If you used bleach, vinegar, or anything else, just don't throw your watercolor away because it's possible. You can keep using your watercolor, even if it's just for training. Subscribe to the channel and leave a like. It really helps us here, and I hope it was informative, okay? See you next time, thanks, bye.
Enjoy! They are still free for Prime and Kindle Unlimited subscribers.